Published 1704 Est, 6 November 2017. Updated 2025 Est, 6 November 2017. Asleep on the floor of the luxury five-star prison, 11 Saudi princes, government ministers and businessmen await their fate following their arrest in the biggest anti-corruption purge of the kingdom's modern history. In a photo obtained exclusively by DailyMail.com, the men are seen gathered together at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Riyadh, the Saudi capital, inside one of its glittering function rooms, wrapped in blankets and sleeping on thin mattresses. Saudi sources say that among those photographed in the room are billionaire investor Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, who is a nephew of the king, worth an estimated $18 billion and owns stakes in Twitter, Lyft and Citigroup. The photograph was revealed as President Trump went out in supporting the man who ordered the mass arrest, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the ferociously ambitious 32-year-old heir to the throne. In two tweets sent as he prepared to leave Japan for South Korea on a lengthy Asian tour, he said, "I have great confidence in King Salman and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. They know exactly what they are doing. Some of those they are harshly treating have been milking their country for years. Their intervention places the US squarely behind the Crown Prince and may be partly personally motivated." Prince Al-Walid was a vocal personal critic of Trump in the run-up to his election. The photograph of princes on bare mattresses show the depth of their fall, although DailyMail.com has no way of verifying the claims from inside the closed kingdom. Claims that the arrested men were being held at the Ritz-Carlton have circulated widely. Those arrested have been left in the five-star hotel as the sweeping anti-corruption probe ordered by Saudi King Salman's son, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, continues. Humiliation. This image, passed to DailyMail.com by sources inside the Saudi government, shows what were some of the country's most powerful men sleeping on thin mattresses in the function room of the Ritz-Carlton. Previous guest President Trump stayed at the Ritz-Carlton when he visited Saudi Arabia in May, and it was where he met Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who was then Deputy Crown Prince and is now Crown Prince and the man behind the anti-corruption crackdown. All in. Donald Trump tweeted his complete backing for the moves by Prince Mohammed, the Crown Prince, and his father King Salman in rounding up dozens of princes and ministers. How it was the men appear to be sleeping in this room, which last month hosted the Future Investment Conference. Among those who used the event to highlight the kingdom's future was Prince Al-Walid, who now finds himself sleeping on its floor room like this. A happy vacationer posted this picture of what appears to be the room where the arrested men are being held. The Crown Prince has a key ally in President Trump's son-in-law and senior advisor, Jared Kushner. The Washington Post's David Ignatius wrote that it was Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman who Kushner visited with on his secret trip to Saudi Arabia last month, as the president's son-in-law made his third trek to the country since Trump's swearing-in. The two princes are said to have stayed up until nearly 4 a.m. several nights, swapping stories and planning strategy. Ignatius wrote, dubbing Kushner, a sign to a New York real estate family, a prince as well. Mohammed bin Salman, or MBS for short, has bonded with Kushner and been embraced by the Trump inner circle for being both their wealthy tycoon and a populist insurgent. Ignatius noted, he is being held along with 10 other princes and 38 officials following an historic weekend shake-up of the kingdom's royal family. The photo was leaked to DailyMail.com from sources within the Saudi government. The reshuffling happened as Saudi King Salman swore in new officials to replace those arrested. Rumors swirled the royals were receiving five-star accommodations when the Ritz-Carlton was evacuated Saturday, but our photo shows their sleeping arrangements are far from luxurious. Treatment few among the group will be used to. Ironically, they are huddled on the floor of one of the grand function rooms which last month played host to the Future Investment Conference, a gathering of world business leaders which Prince Mohammed used to highlight his commitment to turning Saudi Arabia to moderate Islam, and which some of those arrested attended. Al-Walid used the conference to speak to CNBC about the flotation of oil giant Saudi Aramco, words which may well be his last in public life. The hotel also played host to Donald Trump when he visited the kingdom on his first foreign trip earlier this year, and it was where he met the Crown Prince. The arrest that began late Saturday included Prince Muteb bin Abdullah, who for the past 4 years had led the National Guard, and Prince Adel Faikeh, who was Minister of Economy since April. Prince Muteb was once considered a contender for the throne, though he has not been thought of recently as a challenger to Prince Mohammed. The men were reportedly arrested in a crackdown that the Attorney General described as Phase 1. Prince Al-Walid is accused of money laundering, bribery and extorting officials, an official told Reuters on Sunday. Turned into a prison, the Ritz-Carlton in Riyadh was emptied of guests on Saturday night as the roundup of allegedly corrupt ministers and princes got underway. Arrested Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, one of the world's highest-profile investors, and Prince Adel Faikeh, who was Minister of Economy since April, are being held. Military man Prince Muteb bin Abdullah, who for the past 4 years had led the National Guard, is among those arrested. The campaign of arrests lengthens an already daunting list of challenges undertaken by the 32-year-old king since his father, King Salman, ascended the throne in 2015. Those include going to war in Yemen, cranking up Riyadh's confrontation with arch-foe Iran, and reforming the economy to lessen its reliance on oil. Both allies and adversaries are quietly astounded that a kingdom once obsessed with stability has acquired such a taste for assertive policy-making. The kingdom is at a crossroads. Its economy has flatlined with low oil prices. The war in Yemen is a quagmire. The blockade of Qatar is a failure. Iranian influence is rampant in Lebanon, Syria and Iraq, and the succession is a question mark, wrote ex-CIA official Bruce Riedel for Reuters. It is the most volatile period in Saudi history in over a half-century. The crackdown has drawn no public opposition within the kingdom, either on the street or on social media. Many ordinary Saudis applauded the arrests, the latest in a string of domestic and international moves asserting the prince's authority. But abroad, critics perceive the purge as further evidence of intolerance from a power-hungry leader keen to stop influential opponents blocking his economic reforms or reversing the expansion of his political clout. Prominent Saudi columnist Jamal Khashoggi applauded the campaign, but warned he is imposing very selective justice. The crackdown on even the most constructive criticism, the demand for complete loyalty with a significant or else, remains a serious challenge to the Crown Princess' desire to be seen as a modern, enlightened leader. The buck stops at the leader's door. He is not above the standard he is now setting for the rest of his family, and for the country, he wrote in The Washington Post. The campaign of mass arrests expanded on Monday as a top entrepreneur Nasser bin Akil Al Tayyar was reported to have been detained. Al Tayyar travel plunged 10% in the opening minutes after the company quoted media reports as saying board member Nasser bin Akil Al Tayyar had been detained in the anti-corruption drive. Saudi Asia Trading, Tourism and Manufacturing and Red Sea International separately reported normal operations after the reported detentions of board members Abdullah Saleh Kamal, Khalid Al-Mulhaim and Amra Al-Dabba. Saudi banks have begun freezing suspects' accounts, sources told Reuters. The Attorney General said on Monday detainees had been questioned and a great deal of evidence had been gathered. Yesterday, Sunday, does not represent the start, but the completion of Phase 1 of our anti-corruption push, Saad al-Majeb said. Probes were done discreetly to preserve the integrity of the legal proceedings and ensure there was no flight from justice. Another arrest, Nasser bin Akil Al Tayyar was president of a large travel group, whose shares plunged. Investigators had been collecting evidence for 3 years and would continue to identify culprits, issue arrest warrants and travel restrictions and bring offenders to justice, Anti-Graft Committee member Khalid bin Abdul Mohsen Al Mahizen said. The front page of leading Saudi newspaper Okaz challenged businessmen to reveal the sources of their assets, asking, "Where did you get this?" Another headline from Saudi-owned Al Hayat warned after the launch of the anti-corruption drive, the news tightens, whomever you area no-fly list has been drawn up and security forces in some Saudi airports were barring owners of private jets from taking off without a permit, Panar Abdalia Lashak Al-Awsat said. Among those detained are 11 princes, 4 ministers and tens of former ministers, according to Saudi officials. It's mostly princes from the previous system who made a lot of money in business. That's the common denominator, Stephen Hartog of the London School of Economics told Reuters. Perhaps they can't go after all at the same time, so possibly ones who are least popular or have a beef with the current leadership have been held. It's pretty systematic. Consultancy Eurasia Group said the clearly politicized anti-corruption campaign was a step towards separating the Al Saud family from the state. Royal family members have lost their immunity, a long-standing golden guarantee. Yet many analysts were puzzled by the targeting of technocrats like ousted Economy Minister Adel Fakir and prominent businessmen on whom the kingdom is counting to boost the private sector and wean the economy off oil. It seems to run so counter to the long-term goal of foreign investment and more domestic investment and a strengthened private sector, said Greg Gores, a Gulf expert at Texas A&M University. If your goal really is anti-corruption, then you bring some cases. You don't just arrest a bunch of really high-ranking people and emphasize that the rule of law is not really what guides your actions. Over the past year, the Crown Prince has become the top decision-maker on military, foreign and economic policy, championing subsidy cuts, state asset sales and a government efficiency drive. The reforms have been well received by much of Saudi Arabia's overwhelmingly young population, but resented among some of the more conservative old guard. The Crown Prince has also led Saudi Arabia into a 2-year-old war in Yemen, where the government says it is fighting Iran-aligned militants, and into a dispute with Qatar, which it accuses of backing terrorists, a charge Doha denies. Detractors of the Crown Prince say both moves are dangerous adventurism. The Saudi military coalition said on Monday it would temporarily close all air, land and seaports to Yemen to stem the flow of arms from Iran to Houthi rebels after a missile fired towards Riyadh was intercepted over the weekend.